I was standing in the toothpaste aisle of my local grocery store, staring at a shelf that had more options than I had ever seen in my life. Whitening, sensitive, enamel repair, charcoal, baking soda, herbal, fluoride, no fluoride, kids, adults, and even something called nighttime repair. I picked up a tube that claimed to be natural, turned it over, and read the ingredients: sodium lauryl sulfate, artificial sweeteners, titanium dioxide, glycerin, and a long list of chemical compounds that I could not even pronounce. The price, $6.49. For a tube of paste that I would spit down the drain in 3 months. I put it back on the shelf, walked out of the store, and decided I was never going to buy toothpaste again. Because I had read somewhere that people used to make their own toothpaste at home using nothing but baking soda and coconut oil. It sounded ridiculous. It sounded like something a grandmother would recommend, while you politely nodded and ignored her. But I had also read that commercial toothpaste contains harsh abrasives, artificial flavors, and detergents that do more harm than good over time. I did not know which side to believe, so I decided to find out for myself. I grabbed a box of baking soda, a jar of coconut oil, and a bottle of peppermint essential oil from my kitchen. The total cost was roughly $10, but the baking soda and coconut oil would last for months. The actual cost per batch was less than 50 cents. I was about to make my own toothpaste. And what happened over the next 30 days completely changed how I think about oral hygiene. This is not a sponsored video. I bought every ingredient with my own money, and honestly, I wish I had done this 5 years ago. Let me give you some context about what is actually inside commercial toothpaste. The average toothpaste contains somewhere between 10 and 20 ingredients. Some of them are beneficial, like fluoride, which helps strengthen enamel. Some of them are harmless, like water and glycerin. But some of them are genuinely questionable. Sodium lauryl sulfate, for example, is a foaming agent that creates the bubbles you see when you brush. But it is also a known skin irritant, and many people experience mouth ulcers, peeling gums, or sensitivity because of it. Titanium dioxide is added to make the toothpaste white and opaque, but it is a pigment that has no benefit to your teeth whatsoever. Artificial sweeteners like saccharin and sucralose are added to make the paste taste sweet, but they have nothing to do with cleaning your teeth. And the abrasives used in many toothpastes, like hydrated silica, are so harsh that they can actually wear down your enamel over years of use. I am not saying commercial toothpaste is poison. I am not saying you should throw away your Colgate tomorrow, but I am saying that most people brush twice a day, every day, for their entire lives, without ever questioning what they are putting in their mouths. And when you stop to think about it, that is a little bit alarming. The homemade toothpaste recipe I found online was almost laughably simple. 2 tablespoons of baking soda, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, 10 drops of peppermint essential oil. Mix it into a paste, put it in a small jar, and brush with it like normal. That is it. That is the entire recipe. No chemicals, no detergents, no artificial flavors, just baking soda, coconut oil, and peppermint. Baking soda is a mild abrasive that gently scrubs away plaque and surface stains. Coconut oil has natural antibacterial properties thanks to its lauric acid content, and peppermint oil gives it a fresh taste and kills bad breath bacteria. It sounded like a perfect combination, but then I read the warnings. Some dentists said that baking soda is too abrasive for daily use. Some said that coconut oil does not contain fluoride, so it will not protect against cavities. And some said that homemade toothpaste is a fad that will ruin your teeth within a year. I did not know who to trust. so I decided to test it for 30 days. I would brush with my homemade toothpaste twice a day, every single day, and I would track 3 things: how clean my teeth felt, how my gums responded, and whether I developed any new cavities, sensitivity, or staining. Day 1 was strange. The texture of the paste was completely different from commercial toothpaste. It was thick, gritty, and it did not foam at all. There were no bubbles, no suds, nothing. I brushed for 2 minutes, exactly like I always did, and then I rinsed. My mouth felt clean, but not squeaky clean. It felt more natural, more grounded. I tasted the coconut oil and the peppermint, but the baking soda left a slightly salty aftertaste. I was not sure if I liked it, but I decided to keep going. Day 3, I noticed something interesting. My teeth felt smoother to my tongue. Not polished, like after a dentist visit, but smoother in a natural way. The surface did not feel coated or film covered, which is how commercial toothpaste sometimes leaves my teeth feeling after a night of sleep. Day 7, I checked my gums. They looked slightly pinker and healthier. They had been a little pale and slightly swollen before, and I had always blamed it on my brushing technique, but now they looked more vibrant. I was not expecting that. Day 10, I tried to compare the cleaning power. I ate a piece of dark chocolate, let it sit on my teeth for a few minutes, and then brushed. The homemade paste removed the chocolate stains completely. It took about 30 seconds longer than commercial toothpaste, but it worked. The baking soda was gentle enough not to damage the enamel, but effective enough to lift a stain. Day 15, I started to worry about one thing: cavities. Commercial toothpaste contains fluoride, which is a proven cavity-fighting mineral. My homemade toothpaste did not have any fluoride, so I started researching alternative sources of fluoride. I found out that you can actually add a small amount of fluoride powder to homemade toothpaste, but it is not easy to find and it requires careful measuring. I decided to stick with the natural version for the test, but I kept this concern in mind. Day 20, something unexpected happened. My tongue stopped feeling coated in the morning. Usually when I wake up, I have slight film on my tongue that I have to brush away. With the homemade toothpaste, that film simply did not exist anymore. My mouth felt fresh, natural, and clean, even before breakfast. Day 25, I had a friend try the paste. She's a dentist's assistant, and she was skeptical. She tried it, and her reaction was exactly what I expected. She said it tasted weird, it felt gritty, and she missed the foam. But she also admitted that her teeth felt just as clean as they usually do after brushing. She said, "It is not better, but it is not worse. It is just different." Day 30, I stopped brushing with the commercial toothpaste entirely, and I compared my teeth to a before photo I had taken on day 1. The homemade toothpaste had removed surface stains. The yellowing near my gum line was noticeably reduced. My gums looked healthier, and my breath was fresher for longer during the day. I had not developed any new cavities, no sensitivity, and no irritation. But I also knew that 30 days is not a long enough time to see long-term damage. So I decided to test the abrasion levels. I took a glass microscope slide, rubbed both commercial toothpaste and homemade toothpaste on it for 2 minutes each, and examined the scratches. The commercial toothpaste left fine micro scratches, not severe but visible under magnification. The homemade toothpaste left almost no scratches. The baking soda particles were rounder and softer than the silica particles used in commercial paste. That meant that, in terms of abrasion, my homemade toothpaste was actually safer for enamel. But there was a catch. The homemade paste did not contain fluoride, and fluoride is the single most proven ingredient for preventing cavities. Without it, you are relying entirely on the baking soda to remove plaque before it can cause decay. For some people, that is enough. For others, especially those who eat a lot of sugar or have weak enamel, it may not be. So I did more research and I found a compromise. You can use homemade toothpaste as a primary paste and then supplement with a fluoride mouthwash once a day. That gives you the natural benefits without losing cavity protection. I tried this for 10 days and it worked perfectly. My teeth stayed clean, my gums stayed healthy, and I got the fluoride protection I needed. Now, let me give you the final numbers. Commercial toothpaste costs about $6 for a 3-month supply. That is roughly $2 per month. My homemade toothpaste costs about 50 cents per batch, and each batch lasts about a month and a half. That means I saved roughly $10 over the course of a year. But the savings are not just financial. I also saved myself from sodium lauryl sulfate, artificial sweeteners, titanium dioxide, and unnecessary abrasives. I saved myself from the chemical cocktail that I was swallowing twice a day without thinking. And I saved myself from the guilt of throwing away another plastic tube every few months. The homemade toothpaste comes in a small glass jar that I can reuse indefinitely. That is a small win for the environment. But here is the honest part. The homemade toothpaste is not better than commercial toothpaste. It is not worse. It is different. It is more natural. It is less abrasive. It does not contain questionable chemicals. It is cheaper and more sustainable. But it also does not foam. It does not taste like mint gum. And it does not contain fluoride unless you add it yourself. If you are someone with healthy teeth, low cavity risk, and a desire to reduce chemicals in your life, this is a fantastic alternative. If you have a history of cavities, weak enamel, or sensitive teeth, you should be careful and you should consider adding a fluoride supplement. But here is the most important thing I learned from this experiment. Most of the ingredients in commercial toothpaste are not there for your health. They are there for your experience. The foam is for your brain. The sweet taste is for your tongue. The bright white color is for your eyes. The actual cleaning is done by abrasives and fluoride, and both of those can be found in simple, natural ingredients. Baking soda cleans, coconut oil fights bacteria. Fluoride, if you want it, can be added separately. Everything else is just marketing. Does homemade toothpaste actually work? Yes, it works. It removes plaque, it freshens breath, and it improves gum health. I have used it for 2 months now, and my dentist told me my teeth looked cleaner than they had in years. Is it safe? Yes, it is safe for most people. It is gentler on enamel than commercial toothpaste, and it does not contain any harsh chemicals. But it is not a miracle cure. It will not whiten your teeth overnight. It will not give you a minty fresh breath that lasts all day, and it will not replace fluoride if you need it. Should you switch to homemade toothpaste? If you are looking for a natural, affordable, and sustainable alternative, yes, absolutely. If you want the convenience, the foam, and the familiar taste of commercial toothpaste, stick with what you know. But at least now you know the truth. You know that you can make toothpaste at home. You know that it costs almost nothing. You know that it works. And you know that you have a choice. That is the most valuable thing I discovered in this entire experiment. Not the savings, not the natural ingredients, the choice. If you enjoyed this experiment and you want to see more real tests like this, you need to commit to this channel right now. Subscribe to Overlooked and hit that notification bell, because I test the hacks that nobody else dares to try, and I show you the truth, whether it works or fails. Trust me, you will not want to miss the next experiment. If you have ever made your own toothpaste, or if you have tried any other DIY oral care hack, let me know in the comments. I genuinely want to hear your experiences, good or bad. Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the simplest things are the ones that work the best. You just have to be willing to try. See you in the next one.